Okay, I'm going to tell you something that sounds kind of like a joke, but it's actually a deep mathematical truth. And, it might just change how you see your craft projects forever. It all starts with a classic riddle from the world of mathematics. What do a coffee cup and a donut really have in common? The answer? Well, to a certain type of mathematician called a topologist, they are the exact same object. I'm not kidding. Not similar, not comparable. To them, they are literally the same. Stick with me because by the end of this, you're going to see exactly why. So where does this wild idea even come from? Well, it's from a field of math called topology, which is basically the art of shapeshifting. It's this whole world where how things are connected matters way more than their size, and continuity is king. Think of it like this. Topology couldn't care less about measurements, like length or angles. All it cares about are the properties of a shape that stay the same when you can stretch it, twist it, and bend it like a piece of clay. There are only two rules. You can't tear it, and you can't glue new parts on. And of course, there's a fantastic word for this whole shape-shifting process, homeomorphism. It's just a fancy way of saying that if you can smoothly squish one object into another without any cuts or tears, topologists say they're identical. They're homeomorphic. Okay, let's go back to our coffee cup. Just imagine it's made of soft clay. You can squish the cut part down, right? You can thicken up the base, and all the while, you're keeping that one single hole from the handle intact. Eventually, you can smooth the whole thing out into a perfect donut. No cuts were made, no new holes were added, so topologically, it's the same object.
So if size and shape don't matter, what on earth does? Well, it all boils down to one surprisingly simple thing: holes. The number of holes an object has is called its genus, and it's basically its topological fingerprint. It's the one thing you absolutely can't change without breaking the rules and cutting into the surface.
And that is why a sphere and a donut are just fundamentally different. A sphere has 0 holes. We say it has a genus of 0. A donut, or a torus, if you want to use the math term, has 1 hole, a genus of 1. You just can't turn one into the other without tearing a new hole. So they'll never, ever be the same in the eyes of topology. Okay, so what in the world does any of this have to do with crochet? Well, it turns out that every time you make a little stuffed Amigurumi toy, you're not just crafting. You are literally building a mathematical surface. And here it is. This is the big reveal. Every single amigurumi you've ever sewn shut, every head, every little body, every tiny arm, is topologically speaking a perfect sphere. Not like a sphere, it is a sphere. So why is that? It's because when you sew that final seam, you're creating a totally sealed surface. It has an inside, it has an outside, and this is the most important part, it has 0 holes. You've just created what's called a genus-zero object. And to a topologist, that's the definition of a sphere. This means your design choices are actually topological decisions. Seriously, if you add a leg or a tail, that's just a bump, a protrusion. It doesn't change anything. An open pocket, that's just a dimple. The genus stays 0. But if you add a handle to a bag, whoa, you've just created a tunnel, a hole. You've fundamentally changed the object from genus-0 to genus-1. But what if you could crochet a surface that seems to break all of these rules? Something that challenges our whole idea of what an object even is. Let's talk about the Klein bottle. All right, here's a question that might twist your brain a little bit. What if a surface had no inside and no outside? What if you could trace a path from the inside to the outside without ever crossing an edge? This is a crocheted Klein bottle. It's a real-life physical model of a theoretical surface. For this thing to exist without intersecting itself, it would actually need a 4th dimension to curve through. To make it, you have to pass the neck of the bottle through its own side to connect back to the opening at the bottom. And what this creates is just mind-bending. It's a closed surface with only one side. Yeah, you heard me right. Imagine a little ant walking along it. It could travel from the outside to the inside and back again without ever crossing a boundary. It's what mathematicians call non-orientable. And the most amazing part? This incredible concept from higher math can be modeled with simple yarn and a crochet hook. So what's the big takeaway from all this? It's the idea that this abstract, high-level math isn't just trapped in textbooks. It's right there in your hands, probably sitting in your project bag right now. Every single seam you sew is a topological decision. When you choose to close up an opening to make a sphere, or when you add a handle to make a torus, you are actively classifying and defining the fundamental properties of a mathematical surface. So I want to leave you with this final thought. You know, mathematicians use these complex proofs and equations to explore these incredible shapes. You've been exploring the exact same structures all along. You are working from the same rules. You just had a pattern instead of a proof.